today my two dear friends are here with me, architect Pratik Dhanmer and Krunal Negandhi. He's a civil engineer. Like Krunal is practicing into green architecture as well as in bamboo, and he is very well doing in that particular field with his expertise and as well as business point of view. And also Pratik is an architect who is working in a vernacular medium, and he is also very successful into the agriculture as well as the business. So I am very proud of both of them, and they are here today with us in the studio, and let's hear from them. Pratik Dhanmer from Design Jatra. Welcome, Pratik. So please explain how and this vernacular architecture functions and how the natural material, resources, also the region-wise, what are the changes, the climatic changes.
I was going through one book called Vernacular Architecture. The book name is itself Vernacular Architecture. And on first page there was a definition of vernacular architecture. It is the architecture without an architect. The moment architect touch any kind of a building, it's no more the vernacular architecture. And it was very fascinating to me, like how we architects are sometimes contaminating the definition of vernacular architecture, because I found it a little bit offensive that time. Okay, the moment I touch any building, it's no more vernacular architecture. But then I started going into the depth of it. There is a lot of realizations, and it happened to be that during my college days, there was one faculty called architect Malak Singh Gill, and Malak sir actually introduced us to this kind of architecture, I would say. When we were like going through this kind of studying this kind of structure, he asked one question, and he showed us one haveli from the Rajasthan, and he asked, where this belong? We said, yes, this is Rajasthan. Then he showed us the laterite stone structure, and we said, yeah, this is Konkan. Then he showed the bamboo, yeah, it's from Assam. And then he showed us the one RCC building, and nobody could guess where it belongs. Then he showed another building, and we're like, no. And then he asked us the basic question, like, okay, so don't you think that we modern architects are actually taking away the identity of the building away?
The whole identity of the particular structure,
exactly.
The design.
And then he started explaining that there is always, every structure, whenever the vernacular architecture, it comes with a lot of systems. There are a lot of context which is working towards it, and the moment you start studying it, you understand that structure is no more just a build form or a four walls. It's the entire ecosystem which is working on it. And I feel that time it was quite a big eye opener for us, and we started looking at a building beyond the building, and that's how the exploration started.
When we think of bamboo, we think of northeast of India, that is Assam, Nagaland, and also Manipur, where there are bamboo forests. But today we have with us Mr. Krunal Negandhi. Welcome, Krunal. And tell us how this bamboo has done the parivartan or the transformation in your life.
So, thank you for inviting me, Trupti. It's a pleasure to chat with you. And for me, this journey started with the journey of sustainability. And the glimpse of it started when I had been to Bihar School of Yoga in the year 2004. And I spent about 16-17 days at the ashram. And I realized that there are only two ways that you can live your life. One path, contributes to planet Earth, and other path depletes from planet Earth or Mother Earth, as you say. Any action that you take either is going to be contributing or depleting. And it was painful to think that as engineers, it's a cursed profession that every time you build something, you are extracting from the Mother Earth for your own survival or for your own enjoyment and needs. So I got an opportunity to work with the city of Lavasa, or Lavasa city, and as you know, it's about 12,500 acres of land, denuded land, but sitting on a biodiversity hotspot. The area is part of Western Ghats. So a large area was not going to be built in which case. The slopes, which are more than 1:2.
Contours are there.
Contours, it's a contoured land, and you cannot build on that. Though these denuded land, had to be made into green. Typically, when we talk of green, we think of landscape. So I got, that time that I spent in the ashram, I thought it's a great opportunity to look at it from not landscape but nature scale. And how, if we say there is no human activity at all, then what is the highest level of ecosystem services that land can provide? And taking that as an ultimate goal, it's an aspirational goal. We don't know how to reach there. We don't know how to measure ourselves whether we are taking steps forward to reach there. So those steps that we took, started yielding results. And when the area became green, or when the nature scape started coming up, we thought it's time to let the people know that nature is magic and magic is possible. If you don't impose yourself on it and you just be a catalyst in the nature we want. Now, how do you put it? This is all philosophy or being made, but how do you put it in a way that people like it or people understand it? And some part of their emotional core touches, and a little bit of a rise in their own consciousness happens. And how do you do it in a way that is fun and entertaining at the same time and not boring? So we said, let's develop this entire non-built area into nature-based tourism. So this thought came in 2009. Now when we thought of nature-based tourism, at least there we felt we don't want concrete and steel structures.
Yes.
Now then, if not concrete and steel, the thought was, how do we make it net zero? How do you leave a zero carbon footprint in this entire, experience of a nature trek? So that search actually led me to finding out use of bamboo and use of soil. And that's my journey, began that. How do you build
So
things?
that was a moment of transformation for you.
Yeah, that was the journey of transformation, I would say. Yeah, the aspirational goal was to become net zero, in the year 2009. And we could do that for the trail area by 2010. And when we did it, we realized that so much more is possible than what we have learned or we have been trained or we have been exposed to. And quite a lot more is possible. So that started the overall process of exploring the use of bamboo into in architecture, design, construction, and other things.
So Kunal, you call yourself passionpreneur than a civil engineer who designs and who is all day into concrete and construction and construction of modern structures. So what is that passionpreneur stands for, and how do you define that for yourself?
So I'll give you an example. So when I'm back from the office and it's been a good day and I come home say around 10:30 at night and I'm having my dinner and chatting with my children, I'm very excited about how the day happened. I want to share with them, I want to talk about them, talk about things that happened. And one day my daughter told me, Dad, don't you get tired? I mean, you started the day at 9 and it's 10:30 and you still want to talk about work. And I was thinking to myself, I said, but am I not really enjoying what I'm doing? I mean, the possibility of being able to live your life, which actually contributes to itself is such a purpose-led life. It's passion. Now, the one ugly thing that I learned in my corporate life is that there's passion and there's reality. And you find a lot of people with high level of passion. But when it comes to reality, the whole thing doesn't get scaled up or doesn't get implemented. So you need to probably create a balance.
Yeah, you have to create a bridge.
And a balance. So you've got to take a filter of passion. So you have the heart in the right place. And then you may want to put the hat of the reality and say, how will it make a value for money production?
Right.
Or how will it be able to give a value to a particular target audience or a customer? Because if there's no value being given, either in terms of money or other softer aspects, then there's no right for that thing to remain, right? It won't sustain. It may happen, 1 or 2 times, but it won't sustain. So that passion and entrepreneurship, you have to mix it together if you really need to create a change. And that's why, I take it upon myself to be a passionpreneur. Got to have passion, but I have to have entrepreneurship in mind and make it really happen. It's a journey.
Good to know. Pratik, just explain how is your knowledge of this vernacular architecture of the local communities, how they have accepted this knowledge and how it has helped them to, come out of their age-old structure or stigma, you can say, and how you are helping that knowledge of your construction in that particular region.
So it's not an easy path for sure, because when I decided to dedicate my entire career and life for this kind of architecture, first thing I had this dialogue with my family, and my dad was like, okay, if you really wanted to go to the village, why in first place you did this course in Mumbai, and why this particular code? Like you have so much of the entire world is open for you in architecture field, where there are high-rises buildings are going up, and you just want to build something with mud. And I think it was a 9 months process. And I'm not a rebel kind of a person. I always involve my parents in the dialogue. And for 9 months we are having this dialogue with them. Why I wanted to go into this particular field. The good part is my another two partners, Shardul and Vinita. The three of us, Vinita is 1 year senior to me from the same college, Academy of Architecture, and Shardul is 1 year junior to me. And when we three of us came together, and that time we were just working on Shardul's house. That time we realized that how much we are involved in this process. Like you are mixing mud with your hand, and you are applying, making those brick structures. And I think Sir rightly said that the passion is very much important. And the good part about this kind of a work is I always that one shlok Abhanga which came into my mind by Sant Tukaram Maharaj, where he says in Marathi, Deva pahavayasi gelo ani deva hooniche thelo, means I'm searching for the God and I become the God I didn't know. And I think this particular field is exactly like that. When you see it as a career, you get into it and you see that this work is so much going along with your life. When we were building this Shardul's house, which is our first project, when the first time mud came on site, and we were asking one of our mestri whether this mud is good for construction, and he actually took a pinch of mud and he tested on his tongue.
Oh.
And it was
so
quite.
Mystery is from the rural village.
Yeah. From the and we always work with the local people because they have the best knowledge. And then he was like, okay, yeah, this mud is very good for construction. And we were like shocked, okay, we also wanted to taste it, how the actual construction material tastes like. And then I realized that he was actually checking the clay, silt and sand content of that mud. So, you can use that mud for construction.
Because no one here in urban area will dare to touch anything and put it in mouth.
And the good part is that it is also an approval that mud is so harmless that you can even eat it.
Yeah, that's what.
You cannot do it with the cement or any industrial material.
No chance.
Yeah, you cannot dare to touch it. And I think that was...
Any which way we are eating so much of chemicals nowadays. Actual chemicals we can put it in.
Exactly.
I think we as children all have eaten mud.
Exactly.
And I was the one also eating, and I remember my son, he used to eat the edges of the wall. So much so that if we don't see him around for a minute or two, we know that he has found some corner around.
It's better to eat the edge of the mud wall than the cement wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how then the curiosity started. And when we started exploring, we came to know it is not about the process of construction, but it is also about the system, the belief which comes from. And one of the another story I would like to say that we were working with one community on a community project. It was a forest food processing center, and that time we were doing the plaster of one of the structure. It was during near Holi, and that mud was like so good when we were plastering it was very smooth. And there were a lot of my interns and students, we architects, we were all doing that. And there was one lady who had on her and that kid was like crying a lot, and she was like, "Yare, bahut dhoop hai na abhi, to isliye uska matha garm ho gaya." And she actually took the lump of that plaster and put on his head.
Oh.
And we were like shocked, wow, what is happening right now? And then she's like, "नहीं, अब उसका सिर ठंडा हो जाएगा, क्योंकि अभी मिट्टी लगा दी उसके सर को." And in the evening, like they started throwing mud on each other while they were like very happily doing the plasters and throwing mud on each other. They were having fun, and they were a little bit hesitant to throw mud on us. But finally, like when we started doing that, it's like a Holi. And after that, we went to the river and we had a bath. And everyone was actually talking, oh, now our skin is feeling really smooth because we had a mud bath.
Mud bath, we'll go and take it in spa.
Exactly. And after that, the villagers started explaining us that, so whenever they start construction of the houses around like February, they start, and till the Holi, they come to the plaster. And that plaster is again a mud. So it is very evident that you are celebrating your house is getting completed. So it's a 8 rituals where they throw mud on each other.
That's
and
amazing.
yeah, so it's a system. Imagine now we are constructing all the cement houses in the rural area, and that process is no more happening right now because you cannot just throw cement on each other. And I think that is very important. So when we started looking at these systems, these rituals and everything, we started understanding it is so holistic. We cannot just look at it at one lens, which is architecture.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
there are so many angles. You can look it from different glasses.
Exactly. So rather than, I would say, me contributing to the village is contributing in me. And yeah, and I was like looking at my whatever the learnings I have about architecture. I started questioning it. It was more like an unlearning process for me. And then I started looking at all the systems. I just try to understand how that systems are coming through, where the roots are. And I think that process is so holistic. We are still in a process. I don't think so it will ever end.
Like you rightly said that architects have to unlearn first to learn new things.